Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to another episode of Life of Brian. Today we are with my 1997 Mitsubishi 3000GT, and I'm going to do a quick five things I violently oppose about my car. And I have a good little list about this car, so let's get started. So the first things, guys, that I violently oppose about my 3000 GT are these headlights. So the 3000 GT had three different generations, if you will, of headlights. The first generation had the pop-up, which a lot of people preferred. I actually don't really like the pop-up headlight look, but actually in the 3000 GT, I think it looked kind of pretty clean, pretty nice. Had a very Ferrari look to it. And in fact, when the 3000 GT came out, it was very similar to the, I think, was it the 355, I believe, or the 355? I could be completely making that up, but anywho, yeah, I think it was called like the poor man's Ferrari, and they had the pop-up headlights. The second generation, which is what I have, had these headlights, which a lot of people have called catfish. The catfish headlights, which I kind of see. I don't really like these. I actually recently got headlights off of a 98 3000 GT, which I'm actually going to get swapped in for these. This I believe is clear, and these are kind of darker, but they look a lot better. They look a lot more modern, if you will, and less catfishy. So yeah, I don't really like the look of these headlights, and I think once I swap those in, it'll improve the appearance, at least the frontal appearance of the car. But that's the first thing that I violently oppose about my 3000 GT. The second thing, guys, that I violently oppose about my Mitsubishi 3000 GT is the headroom, or the lack thereof. I'm pretty much right now in my standard seating position. And actually, maybe I technically might be a little bit more forward. But anywho, so as you can see here, I have basically really no space here. I'm about 5'10", and I quite frequently find myself, especially when I'm getting in the car and I'm adjusting my seat, and even when I'm driving, turning my head, that sort of thing, I do find myself kind of touching, sometimes even bumping my head against the top of the roof here. And you know, again, I'm not very tall, and the car, you know, size-wise, at least, you know, when I compare it to my SVX, my RX-7, my Supra, my SVX, you know, other JDMs, the car, you know, at least out from the outside, doesn't look, you know, any more, doesn't look shorter or smaller, more compact, certainly. I mean, if anything, the 3000 GTs were kind of knocked for their bloat and size, but for some reason, the roof just seems lower in this car, and I don't know why. And in fact, a lot of times I have to push my seat almost all the way to the back in order to even get any sort of clearance like I have now. Like I said, in fact, right now I'm probably a little bit more back than I usually would be. But that's my second knock against this car, is just there's not, for some reason, this is a lot lower than, honestly, even a much smaller car like my RX-7. I have no problem getting headroom here, but in the 3000 GT, it's very close. I know you guys maybe can't tell from this angle, but yeah, I'm actually constantly kind of hitting my head or bumping my head against the top of the roof. So that's the second thing I violently oppose about my 3000 GT. The third thing that I violently oppose, guys, and this is kind of a weird thing, but it's just me, is the fact that there are two outlets here. So there's one here, and there's one here. Again, one here and one here. You know, I mean, for utility, for, you know, if you had like a, let's say, a radar detector plugged in, and you had like one of these Bluetooth transmitters, I mean, that, yes, that is useful for that purpose. But in terms of, it's just odd that, especially in this car, actually, I don't have another car of this age that had this many plugs in it, this many outlets in it. And the fact that they're so close together, you know, sometimes there's like one in the glove compartment, or one in the center, but the fact that there's kind of two here, I don't know, I think it kind of makes it look a little bit more busy than it should. And this obviously is not the most attractive thing to look at, but again, I mean, all of this is pretty much plasticky and chintzy, and you know, this is a Mitsubishi, for God's sakes, in the late 90s, so interior quality was not really its forte. But yeah, the fact that there are two is kind of weird. And ironically enough, guys, when I first got the car, I was using this one, and then one day it's for my Bluetooth transmitter, and it stopped working, and I was like, crap, how am I gonna listen to my music now? And then I actually just, you know, looked down. I was like, oh crap, look, there's another one right there. So yeah, it's a little odd, it's a little weird. I probably would just had one, probably keep this one right here, and this one's a little bit odd. Plus it's kind of, if you put something there, especially if you plug something in here, it kind of, you know, gets in the way of the shifter. So that's the third thing I violently oppose about my 3000 GT. The fourth thing that I violently oppose about my 3000 GT, guys, is this ginormous steering wheel. Contrary, or, you know, I was discussing my Ford GT the other day and how much I love that steering wheel. The RX-7 steering wheel, I believe I like, and I'll kind of go back to that issue later on, guys, when I shoot my RX-7 video. My Super steering wheel, I like the feel and look. I hate this steering wheel. First of all, it's ginormous. It's huge. It feels like it's like belongs on like a pickup truck or a tractor trailer or something. It's just huge. And then all this space here for your horn, and then the buttons for some reason are down here. You get volume control and you know, I guess scan mode, blah blah blah. And anytime I'm changing the radio, I completely forget that the button's down here, because it's just so counterintuitive. You think the button should be here or here, not here. So I never actually use these buttons. I just go there. But yeah, the steering wheel is just, I mean, it's an ugly steering wheel, number one. It's a complete ugly steering wheel. But you know, ugliness wouldn't be so much a problem. It's just too big. It's bulky. It's cumbersome. Yeah, and this, you touch this every day. You look at this every day. You drive the car. Yeah, this is definitely the fourth thing I violently oppose about this car, and I wish there was a different steering wheel, a smaller steering wheel, perhaps a more attractive steering wheel. But you know, that is what it is. The fifth thing, guys, that I violently oppose about my 3000 GT are the back seats, or the lack thereof. Now, again, I totally get it, guys. It's a sports car. All sports cars do not have usable back seats. But again, there are exceptions to that rule. For example, my 300 ZX has very usable back seats, at least for my kids, who are, you know, 8 and 7 right now. So, you know, they're not like babies. My Subaru SVX has a lot of ample backseat room. So again, I think it's not a universal truth that, you know, sports cars or JDMs of this era had unusable back seats. Now, this is certainly more usable than my Supra. My Supra, of course, I don't think I've ever put anyone in the back seats. Those are completely unusable. These are somewhat usable. I can try to cram my kids back here for a short ride if I'm mad at them. But yeah, these back seats are not very usable. Again, good for a duffel bag, good for luggage. But, you know, with the seat, basically, the passenger seat and the driver's seat pushed all the way back, you have basically little to no leg room. And again, I'm kind of nitpicking here because, again, it's a sports car. You're not expected to have leg room back there. But, you know, it is something where I do have to take that in consideration. If I take this car, am I going to take my kids? Am I going to take even one other adult or whatever, even stuff? Because this back seat is, for the most part, very unusable and useless. So that's the fifth thing I violently oppose about the 3000 GT. So those are the 5 things, guys, that I violently oppose about my Mitsubishi 3000 GT. Again, I like the car overall. It has a lot of pros for sure. But those are the 5 things that I would like to, you know, if I was designing the car, if I had a say in it, that I would have done differently. Again, some are minor, some are not so minor, but, you know, no car is perfect. But those are the 5 things with this car that definitely make it short of perfect. So, hope you guys enjoy. Let me know if you guys like the series, if there's something else you'd like me to do, any suggestions for material or content. Appreciate the support, appreciate the comments, guys. Like and subscribe, support the channel. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Take care, bye-bye.